Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Austin Clark here, host of the Multiply You podcast. Really excited to be able to spend the next 20, 30, 40 minutes with you. We've got a really wonderful guest on that's running an incredible pest control company out of Southern California, and we'll be able to talk with Jason here a little bit in just a moment. This episode is brought to you by my company out of Phoenix, Baacke Pest Control. 2022 was a wonderful year for us. We grew and grew quite a bit, and we're looking to do the same in 2023. I, like many of you, have been in meetings the last couple of weeks, planning and looking to see the things that we're setting out to accomplish in 2023. And it's certainly scheduled for more growth for us here in Phoenix. This part of the reason and part of the way that we've been able to grow is via acquisition. So we do the direct mailers like everyone does. We do the pay-per-click campaigns and all of the marketing strategies that you can think of. But we've really had a lot of luck growing via acquisition the last 4 or 5 years. We've just found that there's a lot of people that are done. They've been doing it for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, or circumstances change or things change, and they just want to do other things. They maybe want to start another venture. They want to try something new. They want to learn a new skill. They want to do what they always wanted to do, because none of us wanted to end up in pest control. It just kind of happened to us. And so if you're interested or open to those conversations, we would love to have them with you. You can reach out to me directly on my cell. You can call or text me. It's 480-254-9730. You can email me directly as well at aclark@moxiepestcontrol.com. I've got Jason on today. He owns, like I said, a fantastic company. It's called Versatech. He's got over 20 years experience in the industry, and I can't wait to peel back the layers of that onion a little bit more to understand kind of how that started for him. He's a second generation pest control expert and founded Versatech Pest Management in 2012. Jason's currently looking to dominate the Los Angeles and Orange County pest control markets for years and years to come. I love that. Jason, thank you so much for being here with me today. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Austin. Thanks for having me. Thanks for this opportunity. And congratulations on your success. And when you start getting into that acquisition market, man, that's a whole new ballgame, isn't it?
It's a whole new ballgame. Yeah, it's different. I tell people the first deal that I did myself was 4 or 5 years ago. And I tell people it was the best, worst deal for us to do. It was the best deal because it was so easy. It was about a $750,000 deal. It was mostly, it lined up perfectly like with what we were doing as far as our clientele. Mm-hmm. Same software, same schedule. Just like everything was perfect. And it was just such an easy, simple transition. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're probably all like this. And let me tell you, they are not. And so our first deal was the best, worst first deal that we could have ever done.
Yeah, sometimes you almost want that first one to be the hard one. That way they're all downhill from there, and you get to learn everything from it, the do's and don'ts. Yeah, I can definitely see that. But again, congratulations. Once you start reaching that level of being able to acquire, you're not only becoming a better steward of the industry, but you're really promoting yourself out there well and able to help a lot more people. So congratulations.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot. It's been rewarding, and it's just one step in front of the other, every single day, kind of come what may. Well, Jason, give us a little bit of your background. 20 years is a lot to cover in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but mm-hmm. How did you get into the industry? How did you start? What prompted you to do pest control? How did this all come about?
Well, I might be one of those rare guys who actually wanted to do pest control. And as far as that big 20 years goes, bait stations don't change much, Austin.
Yeah,
they're the same. All right,
they're exactly the same, aren't they?
They're the same. No matter what. They just
cost more. They just cost more now.
Yeah. I know. And as you grow, you have to buy them in bigger bulk quantities, right? It goes from buying them individually to buying them in pallets. But
pallets.
Yeah. But no. So it's quite interesting. My father got into the industry first. He was an auto mechanic for all of his adult life. even before that. He was that kid who started working on motorcycles in his garage, and then eventually became a certified technician, a manager of a Kmart auto department. And that was all done on the East Coast in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then we decided to move out to the West Coast here, and he began wrenching again for a Firestone owner of a franchise. Did that for the bulk of my life until one day he was diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome. So he couldn't wrench anymore. Then he moved into the service department, but kind of didn't like it. And during all that, while we were during probably the 5 years prior to him getting diagnosed, we met and developed a relationship with a good family friend who is still a good family friend today, who was in pest control service. So as my dad was looking to transition into a career that he could be more hands-on, he got into pest control. And he, of course, just like most of us, we started at Orkin. So he started at Orkin in the early 90s. And as I graduated high school, I started working there at his branch. Both of them kind of got me in. And I started out just as the gopher guy, not gopher, but go for this, go for that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's another term we call him, Webster, and I can't say the other word, but yeah. So I started out as kind of the go for this, go for that guy, and that was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't trade it in, because most guys, when they come in, they're hired for a specific role. Like, you're going to run a commercial route, or you're going to run this stuff. But I was very fortunate to have that kind of go for this, go for that, because they literally just gave me a truck, gave me some chem, and said, here, this guy's off today, take his route. Or we need this service backed up. Go check that out. Or we need this inspection. Or even it got to the point where, hey, we have a sales lead for you, right? I never knew what was going to happen that day. So what that did was it gave me a very fast training and well-rounded aspect of the industry. And I fell in love with it. I fell absolutely in love with it. Like, you're going to give me a truck and a bunch of chemical, and I get to go spray and kill things, and I get to make people happy. Oh, why would you not want to do this every day?
Yeah.
So I was hooked from the start. But a really big part of that era or that season was, at that time, my branch was buying another pest control company. And it was from a great pest control guy named Jim Harmon. Currently, he runs and owns California Pest Management in Laverne, California. But his first company he built, he sold to Orkin. And the timing was great because they were acquiring his company at my branch. And so he was transitioning that company through that branch. So I got to work with him. So right off the bat, I got put in with an owner of a pest control company. So I was able to kind of learn it. Even though I was at the bottom, I was able to learn top level things while I was training as a new guy. And that really started to develop my hunger and my love and my desire for the pest management industry as a whole. And it really, really was a great experience. And then I worked for Orkin for a few years. And then, the big corporate companies, like, the ones that dominate our industry, the Rent-O-Kills, the Orkins, the Terminexes. Well, now it's Rent-O-Kill and Terminex. But those guys, they tend to lose sight a little bit. They tend to get more numbers driven. And that didn't really start to coincide with how I like to do my service. Putting the clients first, worrying about clients canceling, not just worrying about how we're going to make it up in sales. So as that started to happen, both my father and myself, we started to transition out of Orkin. And then we went to Isotech Pest Management right as they were getting started. And that was another great experience on its own, simply because I was then able to see how a company moves from the beginning phases. When it starts out in that small office, it starts with, 3 guys. And then they hire on the next wave and the next wave. And you keep growing. Instead of worrying about making your losses up in back-end sales, you're now concerned about keeping those clients and seeing how that grows. Worked from there for a few years as well. And then when I graduated college, I continued to work there for a few more years until it was just, I couldn't tell you the day I decided it, but I think it was, I got my licensing really quick. You know, I went from an applicator to a branch two to a QAL to a trapping license. And my goal was to get every single pest control license out there, right? I even went to Purdue. I got everything. The only thing I didn't have was my operators. Unfortunately, at the time when I wanted to get my operators, I may have made the faux pas of not telling my boss that I was going for my operators. but I went to get my operators, and the day I got it, I was excited because I thought, hey, check this out. I have my operators now. I'm the highest, you know, maybe I was thinking, hey, do I get a bump in pay? Hey, how can you use me better? But instead I got my walking papers.
Oh, right? Man. Yeah. He said, there's the door. You can go out that same way, huh?
Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. I remember I got my walking papers. So I got a check in hand and said, have a nice day. Right. That was that was
he wasn't excited about it as you were, huh?
No, definitely not. And like I said, that was probably a lot of my fault for not communicating. Let's be real, right? But I think I was maybe like 26 at the time and still, you know, pretty full of ego. And then it just, you know, I was like sitting in my bedroom. Hey, let's go for it. Let's start a company. I really felt I had the knowledge. I really felt that I had the experience. And that was about it. So I literally just walked into the bank, took out about a $20,000 loan, bought a truck, and bought 5 pairs of matching uniforms. They weren't even had a logo on it or anything, right? I just went to the Dickies store.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I just went to the Dickies store and grabbed 5 pairs of uniforms. And and just started door knocking, door knocked until my knuckles bled. And that's it.
And
that started in 2012.
What year was this, Jason? What year did you that was 2012?
Yeah, that was 2012. It was even funny, Austin. Here's a good one. So I didn't really know nothing about the accounting side of business, nothing, right? I just knew I can do pest control and I've got the drive to go out and talk to people about it. That was it. So I walked into my bank at the time, which I had Wells Fargo, and I was had a personal account there. So I walk in, I go, hey, I need to open up a business account. And they go, okay, great. Can we see your articles of incorporation? And I went, what are those? Right? And
they're like, sure, here's my driver's license.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea. And talk about, oh, okay. So, and I remember I went to the banker. So how do I get those? Right. In the meantime, I'm already signing up clients, right?
Yeah.
I'm already signing up clients. So you want to talk about a risk that you didn't even know about, right? Oh man. So yeah. Called a buddy of a buddy. He's like, yeah, I know a lawyer, right? And wrote me up some articles of incorporation. Ended up incorporating the company about a month later in March of 2012. And just kept on knocking on doors, and kept on doing everything I could to just promote myself, and started learning on the way. And we've been growing steadily ever since. And it's been quite a ride. So that's how we've gotten Versatech founded. Now, I'm really happy to say we have 9 total employees. We just moved into our first office out of my garage.
Hey, all right, man. Congrats.
Yep. And according to the recent pest management professional stats, we're in the top 38% of the nation. So we only have upwards to go. So that's kind of the founding story of the company.
Hey, that is awesome, Jason, and congratulations too. And like, how awesome along the way that you were early on able to have some of those experience with Jim.
Yes.
And just, I mean, there were some like real key things that happened there that are not like normal, right? That normally don't go that way. So super unique and probably super helpful and valuable. I mean, even into you walking in and showing your boss your papers and that you had your operating license, like that was a blessing and a positive thing for you too,
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I had tears coming down my eyes. I was trying to hold it back and sitting in the lobby waiting for my stepdad to come pick me up, right?
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, you might still be at that company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had that not happened that way. And so that's incredible. That is exciting. As we were kind of getting to know each other before, we talked a little bit, not a little bit, but quite a bit about like capacity and being able to kind of balance, right? Just employees and money and cash flow. And let's dig into that a little bit more. I mean,
Sure.
Was there like an issue that happened that had you focusing more on capacity, or did you know from the get-go that was always going to be something that was important, or why is that a thing for you?
It's one of the hardest things to balance, especially when you have a great reputation and you have people who want, first off, I was always told, just go out and sell and everything will take care of itself, which is true to a point, but you have to be able to get to those sales, right? And I always equate it to like a faucet, okay? So you have control a little bit about what you take on, how much you spend in marketing, and that can kill you. It can cause a flood, right? It can flood your business because you have a reputation to uphold. And if you can't get to clients, then that reputation starts to go downhill. So when it comes to capacity, the hardest part is being able to have a capacity imbalance with your cash flow, with your ability to service clients and still service them at the quality that you expect and that your clients expect and that your staff expects. And if you try to take on too much business at one time, it can really hurt. It can stress your staff. It can eat away at your cash flow. You're putting out more gas. You're putting out hours in overtime. You're putting out all of those things that can slowly eat away from the root system at the bottom up. So that is always a constant issue. And the other way I put it is, it's funny. It's a good problem to have, is people banging down your door, but it's a problem nonetheless, right? It can become a huge problem. Just in those aspects of cash flow, time, and stress on your staff.
Yeah, most of the time, slow and steady wins the race. And
yes,
and after you've worked for 3, 5, 8, plus years, you've got a reputation. You're looking good online. Your clients trust you. They know you. They're repeat customers. You're servicing them on a regular basis, sort of thing. And to bring on a bunch of new customers when you don't have the capacity, either vehicles or people or just infrastructure or support, that can mess a lot of years of really hard work up really, really, really quickly.
Exactly. It can be a flood, total flood. Like you didn't even know it was going to happen. Yeah, it's great. We have, 16, 20, 40 leads coming in a day. But I always say, let's stick with our scheduling. Don't let those leads influence what your plan was in place. If you started the month with, okay, look, we have this amount of capacity, that means no matter what's coming in, you have to stick to that. Except for like the first 2 years, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you take whatever you can get, right?
Yep. You're like, hey, do you want pest control? No, but I need my windows washed. Okay, I'll do that too. No problem.
Austin, it was so funny you mentioned that because one of the things I wanted to do was back in 2012, solar panels were becoming huge, especially here in Southern California, I'm sure, and all over the Southwest. So I was like, well, if I'm at the house, what's it going to take to do some solar panel cleaning, right?
Yeah, I might as well.
Yeah, I might as well, right? I mean, you were taking anything you get your hands on, but that starts to affect again that capacity and that time real fast. So yeah, just a little side note now that you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, what else can I do? It's solar panel cleaning, right? Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm up on like these huge mansion 4-story houses trying to figure out what to do up there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think maybe the same side of or the same like topic of that same coin is, as it relates to capacity, is staffing. And I know that staffing is really important to you as well. Our not just like your employees and mine, but like the world has been through a lot the last couple of years. And, as it relates to the pandemic and just, people losing jobs, all of it, right? It's kind of was depressing there for a little bit, but staffing and taking care of your staff is uber important to you. Could you talk maybe more about different things that you've done, or things that you've tried that have just let people know that you care about them and that you're in this together and that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Well, first, I want to preempt that by saying, I would never be in the position that I'm in without the amazing staff that's under me. Hands down, there's no way anybody can do it alone. I give a lot of kudos to every single person on my staff. Joe Garcia being one of them. He's been with me from the beginning.
Awesome.
He's amazing at what he does. He's our vice president of operations. So we work very closely together. And we just have we have built the company and brought on a staff that just first and foremost respects us as not only operators, but as guys who are willing to get down and dirty with them, right? That's number one. You've got to lead from the front. In a smaller business, like we had mentioned, we're talking primarily, the $500,000 to $5 million revenue range. I would say even up to the $9 million revenue range, you're still in that 30 percentile. You have to still lead from the front. You have to show that confidence and support in your staff, and you have to let them know that you have been through what you're not asking them to do anything that you haven't done or are willing to do with them. And I think that's carried us a lot over the last 10 years. And that has made us a popular place for people to want to work. So I'd say that's first and foremost. And as long as you can keep that established, your staff will always be there for you. But a couple things that we do is first and foremost, we always think of what was it like when we were techs, when we were route managers, when we were branch managers. What was it like? What were the things that we wanted to do different? One is never lie to the guys and make sure you're keeping your promises, right? There were so many times where we were scheduled for like quarterly bonuses and they would just pull them, right? That's a big one. Without no explanation. Hey, if I messed up, I want to know about it. And hey, I get it, right? But all of a sudden, you just go and get your bonus. Also, having those options for a bonus. Our business is very performance based, and it's very trusting based. You got to put a guy in a truck with chemical, and he's going to go talk to your clients, right? You have to make sure that he feels comfortable to and wants to be his best every day to go out and service that bait station properly every single time. And to do that, we really feel like we have to keep our promises as operators to, this is what we promised you. This is what you'll get every month, every time. And if you even excel above that, this is what you'll get too. And never, ever stray from that. Also support, when you're dealing in customer service, not every customer is perfect, not by any means. And you have to really, especially this day and age with social media, with review apps, you really, really have to make that customer feel like they're the only one. I mean, as much as, we want to talk around that, that's just the reality of it, of life right now.
And it's what that customer wants, and it's what they expect too.
And that's what they expect.
They don't care who you serviced before or who you're going to service after. You're at their house, on their property, with their dogs, in their backyard,
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So being that, you need to then also have a higher level expectation for the guys out there, but also of yourself, and then that support system. They need to feel confident in what they're doing and what they're saying to the client, that if they mess up a little bit, they're not going to get, I'm not going to eat your lunch for doing, for maybe having a miscommunication, right? They need to feel confident out there that what they're doing is going to be backed up. Hey, if they, for example, if they've let a customer know they're going to be late, when the customer calls the office complaining, they have to know that I have their back. I have no problem telling a customer this is the way it was, right? And hey, there are plenty of other pest control companies out there, because that means a lot to my guy, right?
Oh, they'll run through, you treat them like that, and you respect them like that, and they'll run through walls for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we built here. And I got to say, over this time, that's one of the harder things it is to try to keep up, it gets harder and harder to try to keep that up, because you have to then train guys who are in that same boat, who are able to do that. But yeah, I think those are a couple of the bigger issues that we've managed to keep staff on board, keep them motivated, just by simply doing what we would consider just basic ethical and little things.
Yeah, no, I love it. Jason, this has been incredible. We got to do a part 2 sometime. But I think there's just like so much to be able to talk with you about as it relates to capacity and staffing and employee morale and taking care of them, and just a lot of the really great nuggets that you've shared. I definitely want to give you the last word. I mean, maybe your outlook on 2023 and what that looks like for business owners like you and I. And then after that, let us know if there's people out there that want to continue the conversation with you. What's the best way for them to contact you? Are you on social? Do you have an email address that's good, or what's the best way to continue that conversation?
Sure. So as far as our outlook for 2023 is, actually, it's funny. Just today, I was going over that, what our forecast is looking like. But our outlook for 2023 is keep doing what we're doing, and how can we continue to succeed at it and make it better. That's it. We've got the secret sauce. Now, how do you keep on generating that sauce, but in bigger amounts? How do you keep the integrity of the company moving forward? That's going to be a big spot for me as we move into our upper management meetings and discussions. But as far as an industry as a whole, I really think pest control, I always say bugs, booze, and cars. You're in those, you're good to go, right? But as far as the industry goes, I really think that the industry is poised to keep on growing and growing faster. And I say that because our clients and just population in general has gotten way more bugophobic, way more. You're getting a lot more people who aren't outdoors as much, who have a way, way low pest tolerance, and who are willing to pay for you to come knock down that little wasp nest, right? You're getting a lot of that. You're also getting people who, again, don't go outside much, don't have much experience with the outdoors. So they're kind of more afraid or apprehensive about it. And that's where we can step in and really fill that need. As far as myself, please feel free to reach out to us on social media. We're at hashtag VersaTechPM. We're across the board there. We're on Instagram, Facebook. You can always call into our office. Our number's on our website. Take a look at our website, versatechpm.com. It'll have all the information there. I still really look at all of our social media, so feel free to send us a direct message. My email is jason@versatechpm.com, and feel free to reach out.
Hey, awesome. Jason, thank you so much for sharing some of your afternoon and time with me and my audience. Everybody, you heard it here. 2023 is going to be a great year. It's looking up. If you're in pest, it's going to continue. Or booze, or what was the other one?
Yeah, bugs, booze, and cars. You can't go wrong.
There you go. Then you're good. Then you're good. So thanks everybody for patching in, and until the next time, we'll catch you later. Create a great day.
Thanks a lot, Austin.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.